Hello and welcome everybody to the Thing I Love Most show, and today the thing that we are still loving most is obviously Tottenham Hotspur, but it's been a tough week for us. Once again, I'm joined on the sofa by Matt. Welcome, Matt. And Lee, once again, thanks for joining us, guys.
Welcome.
So it was a tough week. So let's start at the Carabao Cup semi-final on Thursday. It was a frustrating game. I mean, it's just so difficult when you make the kind of mistakes that we did. And the most frustrating thing for me, I think, about it, especially the first goal, was the identical mistake that was made in the FA Cup semi-final a few years back, when they let the Chelsea player free from the edge of the box. Yeah. It got cleared and they scored and they won. And it was just like, it's just simple schoolboy defending that they didn't manage to do. And it's like we were saying earlier on in the season, we were playing, reasonably well apart from making those mistakes, and that seems to be our only downfall. And so in the big games, we can't make those mistakes because you get punished, and that's obviously what happened. Recovered second half, but by then it was too late, and we managed to get to penalties, and then it was just a luck of the draw and we lost. So, but for me, the frustration was the goals that we conceded were just terrible goals to concede. And that was just the most frustrating thing. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's like the first goal. We give him all that space. Like, nutmeg, three of our players, didn't he? It's just so unlucky. But yeah, he shouldn't have been allowed that space, should he, to strike from there anyway.
It was Dyer and Aurier. It was picked up on the TV.
Yeah.
Dyer and Aurier were just standing there, marking no one, waiting for the ball to come in. But they weren't blocking anyone because they were behind the players that were attacking the keeper. And so they were literally in no man's land. And they were about 10, 15 yards away from Conte and the other player. It was just like, what are you doing there?
I think any level of football, a free hit from 20 yards out is just signifies poor defending on any level. You normally have a man on the edge of the box. It doesn't matter what you're doing in the box. If you're picking up individually, man v man, or you have a line and say, right, go out and attack the ball, but you still always have a man on the edge of the box. But to pick up on your point, Noel, I think both of the goals again were. They're just slap marking, and it was so disappointing because I'm guessing we went with a game plan, and I felt we needed to score first. I thought we'd score first. As long as we scored first on the day, I thought it would have been all right. I thought that would have been enough because it would have knocked the stuffing out of them. It would have given them an uphill battle for them to climb, and I think we could have seen it out. But the way we defended, we will look at the players missing. However, we scored a goal, and that's all we needed to do on the day, really. And therefore, it's disappointing that we conceded the goals, the quality of them as well, that we conceded, because ultimately it's come down to our defending and not our ability to score on the day, and that's massively disappointing.
But who is to blame for that? Because obviously Dyer and Aurier would have been told, or should have been told, to have at least someone. I mean, I don't think we play zonal. So what is going on there? Why aren't they picking up anyone? They were literally standing there in no man's land.
It's got to be poor. It's got to be poor communication. It has to be. And you look at a lot of the goals we've let in this year. The defending's been horrific at times, and you look around and you go, we've got numbers in the box, and you wonder what they're doing sometimes. I mean, I've watched plenty of bits of action where we've got away with it, where I'm looking at maybe sometimes Vertonghen goes for a walk, and then Sanchez goes for a walk, and we'll get to yesterday's game, unfortunately. But again, you just watch them and you just wonder where the communication is and who's just going to sit in. I'll just sit in and take responsibility. I'll just sit in and cover. It seems so intent on pushing out and being furthest away from maybe where the blame is. And I think, I think we're at that point where people just don't want to be singled out.
But it's strange because it's the same players that had the best defensive record in the league, a couple of years ago. Obviously Sanchez has come into that, but it's Toby, it's Jan.
Which is why I would have backed us on the Thursday. Get a goal first, and I think we have the names, the bodies, the players defensively to see us through certain games. And when you look at the goals, we can see
is it concentration? Is it mental fatigue? It's just, communication obviously is the reason why they might not know exactly their roles. But then when it comes down to it, they were both stood there and they both could see. Everyone could see that the players were there on the edge of the box.
We are now talking about a defence of 4 or 5 particular players who must be bossing over 200, maybe 300 caps between them.
Yeah.
So
they played together internationally as well, didn't they? So
a couple of them play together internationally.
Yeah.
So to start, I just find it hugely disappointing. Is it concentration? I don't know. They should know each other's games, and when you're at that level, that sort of game for me is a be all and end all. It's a cup semi-final where we already had the upper hand, and for me, you go all out. You chuck everything on the line. You stick your head behind a boot if you need to, because that keeps the season alive. Right there, that any moment there, that keeps the season alive.
And the thing is with it being at Stamford Bridge as well, we've beaten them in the previous 3 occasions.
Yeah.
So if we'd have gone there and scored first, that would have quietened the crowd right down, wouldn't it? Because they'd be like, "Oh no, it's happening again," and Spurs are going to beat us again. But by letting them score those 2 goals first, it was an uphill battle from them, wasn't it?
So then we weren't much of a goal threat first half. Obviously, second half was a little bit better. Llorente got his goal. Were you surprised that Chelsea didn't offer much else going forward? Obviously Giroud missed a couple. Were you pleased with how we fought second half?
We come out, didn't we? Second half.
Done the job second half. That was meant to do in the first half. The way we defended. You're right. They did have chances. But Giroud, he probably came in for a bit of stick, especially the one at the end. But it wasn't as close to it as people thought he was. And again, he's probably suffering from what Llorente's suffering from, and that's just lack of game. So you ain't got that particular sharpness. That was in the dying embers of the game. So, fair play if he got on the end of that, but he didn't. But we came out in the second half, and
would you have taken off Llorente and put on Moura as he did? Obviously, Moura is more of a pacey threat, but for me, he just didn't really look fit, even when he came on. I think that chance that he had, he snatched at it. I know he's not a potent finisher anyway on his left foot, so it's a difficult chance for him, but I just felt throughout the game, I just didn't think he looked like he was really sort of with it. And so to take off, I know Llorente's not a goal threat as such in terms of, prolific recently, but he obviously already had his goal, so he was in a bit of a confident mood. So for me, I wouldn't have taken him off. I would have left him on there to try and continue and maybe take someone else off more or what.
It's a weird one with Moore, isn't it? Because didn't he get like Player of the Month in that? He scored that couple against Man United, didn't he?
Yeah, he started
and because when we signed him, that 6 months, he wasn't fit, was he? And we didn't. And I almost feel like he's regressing to that kind of that player again. I thought he'd really kick on after getting Player of the Month, but. You're right. He seems to be a little bit off, doesn't he, with his pace and.
He's coming back from injury, but it was still not.
Yeah. I think he looks. You both touch on it, but I think he looks like he's not 100%. I think he's
probably rushed back.
I think he's in there, slightly rushed back, probably a week or 2 weeks ahead of schedule, and it looks like it. Yeah. It definitely looks like it. Yeah. But that's our current situation in the attacking ranks. So
he's got a choice, hasn't he?
yeah. But I would have left Llorente on. I think.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a poor move.
And I think it's kind of up and under. Maybe the crosses in the box would have upset Chelsea more than I was kind of trying to run at them a little bit, to be honest with you. Maybe just you gamble, don't you? Cup semi, got his gamble, but we seen the penalties.
Yeah.
That was the problem. He's seen the penalties and we're like, take it at penalties.
Yeah.
But he started looking around going, have we got enough players to take penalties?
That didn't go down too well.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did you hear about Harry Winks on, I think it was before the game, he was quoted as saying they didn't practice penalties.
Right.
They didn't practice them at all in training. And for me, I find that so odd because
that is quite interesting.
There was obviously it went to penalties, but it wasn't like that was the unlikely scenario, was it? So I was really surprised that they didn't practice them too. I don't know if it was a mentality thing, like just don't think about it and just on the day. But I found it quite weird that they didn't practice them at all.
Yeah, it's quite a surprise. Yeah. Well, it showed.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, Dyer's was just shocking, and Moura's wasn't much better, even if it was on target. So, that was frustrating. Obviously, Davies injured as well, and then Sissoko, through no fault of his own, Serge gave him a little surge up the leg. I think the one positive about it, just concerning that game, was the fact that Rose got to come on and was one of our best players. That actually worked in our favour because I didn't think we were going to do as well with Davies in there. And it just seemed like he was the only one who was willing to get to the byline once again and put crosses in, which is what we need to do when we have Llorente in the team. We've spoken about this so much on the show, and we're going to speak about it in a minute when we talk about the Palace game. And it's just like, if you play Llorente, play to your strength. If you're going to play wing-backs, play with wing-backs, but get them up the pitch. It's not a back five. It was just so infuriating.
Rose for me was the best player on the pitch the second half.
He's been great.
And he has been for the last couple of weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has been.
So, well, I mean, that brings us on to our next topic, which is obviously the Sunday debacle. I think if we are talking about the Rose situation as well, obviously he was left on the bench. We know that Eriksen was rested. If he was really tired, then that's fair enough. Obviously, we don't want him to be, getting more injuries from being tired. If his body's tired, if he's mentally tired, we just don't know. But for me, if you're missing your 3 top scorers, which we were, 3 of the Fab 4, then surely you would maybe risk the 4th one? Or is it a case of if he did get injured and if he did play him and then he got injured, would he get more stick for them missing the league games and us maybe dropping out the top 4? Like, do you think that's his mind games that he's playing with himself in terms of like how much of a risk is it to take for the FA Cup? Because he spoke about it afterwards, obviously, and everyone's all this social media who are about, he doesn't think that the domestic cups are great, and I think he's probably just trying to play it down because he doesn't want to sort of like get too much negativity around the team. He prefers it on himself than the team, which is fair enough. But I just think, looking at that team, the way it was playing, the way we have been playing without Kane and Ali and Son, we needed Eriksen there more than ever. And even if it was just to stick him on the bench, just for half an hour, and maybe even that would have just given the players on the pitch a bit of confidence, knowing that he was there if he was needed. Like, we had no creativity. And if you put Skip and if you put Dyer in the middle, what is that going to give you? Very, very little.
Yeah, but you'd be fairly defensively solid, but you're not going to create much.
No, exactly. So it's like, where was the creativity going to come from? So then we talk about the wing-back situation. Obviously, no Rose. He was also left on the bench. So then he played 2 right-footed players on the left-hand side in Kyle Walker-Peters and Kudu. And Kudu obviously did one good cross for the Fulham game, which then got him in. And then he just completely fluffed his lines. Obviously that chance from the Trippier free kick.
Yeah.
But, playing 2 right-footed players on the left-hand side, when you're trying to go for wing-backs, when you're trying to get down the side, surely Rose was, we didn't hear that Rose was rested. He said in general the players were tired. But I think for me, I think it comes down to it's a financial aspect of it. Because I've been sort of hearing reports of the money that's made from the cups and that, and with the FA Cup you win 4 million. If you win the FA Cup, you get 4 million. You get 3 million just for winning a round in the Champions League. And even if you look at the league, like it's 4 million's the difference between finishing second and finishing 4th. So from a financial point of view, it's almost pointless, the FA Cup. From our fans' point of view, it's not, is it? We want to see the team win a cup, but I guess we don't know the conversations that happen between Levy and Pochettino. No. And for me, I feel like Levy said to him, look, from a financial point of view, you need to focus on the league. It's imperative that we finish in the top 4 at the end of the season. Because like you say about you haven't mentioned Toby. He didn't even play Toby, did he? No, sure.
There was so many first-team players out, and including the injuries as well. That was a real second-string team.
It was, and I was disappointed with the performance. We've done the whole not showing up first half, giving away the goals, so nobody's really worked for them again.
So that's the 3rd game in the row, like you're saying on camera, what's happening there?
Nobody's. I'm
is that
hard,
coaching?
I'm hard
is that like giving them that sort of slap on the arse before they leave in the dressing room? Like why? How can they come out and it's a lack of concentration or it's a lack of enthusiasm?
But it's happening at different times in the game. It's happening. I would understand if it was a bit within the first 2-3 minutes every time, and you go, right, okay, well we might need to address the way we warm up. We might need to address what we're doing in the change rooms. Are we chatting to them too long? Should we chat to them early, get them out and do a quick warm up with them and, just get their heads right? But it's not. It's happening at different times in the game. Always in the first half. We go out with a game plan of being solid and teams having to come onto us and then we break them down. We just find the gaps, if you've got the creative players in the team at the time, obviously. And we are on the back foot consistently for the last 3 or 4 games. We gave United the goal, we gave Fulham the goal, we gave Chelsea the 2 goals, we give Palace 2 goals. It's, but we're giving them. Nobody's earned a goal against us. Nobody's really worked a goal against us. Nobody's like really torn us apart.
Which is the most frustrating thing.
Which really,
I mean, which
really hurts. So when I look at that team on Sunday, yeah, it is disappointing. And there's part of me that goes, if you've got to play a second string team or not your first teams, then make it second string. I would have liked to see Sterling start that game. See Llorente and Sterling up front and go 4-4-2 or, do that or do 4-5-1 and put Llorente in just behind him for flick-ons. We could be a bit more inventive at times. But I do get where you're coming from, and I don't want to put it down to a financial side. I'm sure there is a financial part to it. We've got this beautiful stadium, one of the best in the business, a couple of metres down the road. And yeah, it's probably cost us a bit more than we wanted it to. So every penny we get in the Champions League, etc., and the higher we finish in the Premier League, is going to make a difference. But I don't think that's the reason we lose these games. I don't think that's Poch's mentality completely. I think there's a team, and in his heart of hearts, he probably thinks we should go out and beat that Palace side.
But do you not think that if the financial element wasn't an aspect, he would have played Eriksen and played Toby and put more players in? Because, like you say, Noel, he might have been tired, Eriksen, but you've got other players that are playing every game, aren't they? I mean, even he rested Winks as well. I mean, I get that these players are playing a lot of football in such a short period of time, but at the same time, it just felt for me that he just, I'll put this team out, but I'm not too fussed if we lose. I'm not too fussed, and that's how it felt. Yeah.
But we responded again in the second half when it was too late.
But do you not think that's just their instinct? That's just their football instinct?
I think that's him ripping them a new one at half time every game so far.
Yeah, and they played better, but I mean, they still didn't massively test the keeper.
No, they didn't. And I think that's what's on the pitch.
Lamela came on, and he was better. He had more of the ball, but still. There was no incisive play. There was no real go threat, and there was no crosses.
No.
So that's.
But on another day, do we walk away from there with a 2-2 draw? And Nkudu puts that absolute sitter away,
first
and
half, obviously towards the end of the first half,
scores a penalty. You walk away from there 2-2, and I think if one of those goes in, they fold anyway. They were hanging on for dear life. But we had no creativity, and we didn't have anybody with that clinical finish.
Well, that's the thing. But then again, that comes down to the lineup. Nkudu was playing, and Trippier was taking penalties. If any of the other teams, any of FF4 were playing, they would have been taking penalties, and they would have been slotting those chances away.
But so, we missed them. We know we're missing them. But then, the bigger picture is we go into this. We got to qualify for Champions League. We've got in theory, a winnable run of games coming up in the league. And when you look at it, and the bigger picture does say to you, they need to take precedent. They probably do, whether we like to hear it or not. We wanted to go to Wembley, not for a Premier League fixture. We wanted to go for a day out with a chance of lifting a trophy. And I fully get that, and I'm behind that, and I'm all about that, lifting a cup. But if we're going to go into that new stadium, you want the best players,
of course,
and we need to qualify for the Champions League first and foremost. Not for the money stakes, but for the sake of trying to attract some of those bigger name players for next season. And you look at the fringe players, the Nkudus and so, they're not up to scratch. So, you look at Chelsea, they paid whatever it was in the end for Ross Barkley, 10, 11 million. And he hasn't set the world alight, but he offers you more than an Nkudu does, and he's just on the fringes of theirs. So when I look at that, I find that a little bit frustrating as well, that we was in with a chance of that. And he's probably just flourished in terms of his fitness now, which would have been perfect time for what's gone missing at our place. So we need to qualify for Champions League. We've got a winnable run of games coming up. Sonny's back. The rest of the boys, not so much. And we need to make sure that we're putting points on the board. And we qualify, we finish Champions League. We go into that lovely stadium. We can still turn around, talk to some big players, and hopefully then Levy shuts a lot of fans up by putting his checkbook down and going, right, here's the 2-3 players. I think that's what
sort of almost was proved yesterday in terms of the fact that our squad, we know our squad isn't, up there with the best. But if you look at any of the top 4 or 5, if you take away their top 4 attackers, or top 4 potent midfielders and attackers. It's only Man City really that can put out a decent side.
Absolutely,
You know,
But did they have a wobble?
Liverpool went out against Wolves, you know, when they didn't have their.
Fernandinho went missing from Man City.
Yeah.
They had a wobble. You know, they're holding midfielder. All of a sudden they started letting in goals at the other end. So they did. You know, they shows you how important certain players are. We've got at one point our 4 kind of consider our top 4 boys.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Got all 4 top scorers all out at one go. You know, of course it's going to.
I mean, we don't call them the Fab Four for nothing, do we? Like, they are just the 4 best players we've got, haven't we? And I see, talking about the summer, for me, I feel like that's going to be so important. So important. The fringe players like Nkudu and Llorente and players like that. I think we've got to see them go, and I think we've got to bring in some players. Yeah. Just to, we've seen it now, haven't we? For me, these games have proved that our core 11 would match any other club in Europe. Yeah. But around that,
we've known that for a while, though, haven't we? Really, but I think it's just we've managed to get away with it because we do have the quality that it doesn't actually affect it that much because the ones that do play, they are really, really good. So you know, and obviously Sissoko has come in. Bless him, he's done very well. Winks has come in. Obviously, he wasn't really playing much last season. And Mora flittingly and Lamella flittingly, who aren't involved in that sort of like Fab Four. So you know, we've had help from other positions, and obviously Rose has done very well as well. But I think, you know, I don't think Poch was saying. I just want to know exactly the reason for it because I think you might be right about the financial. And he was alluding to it, but at the end of the day, I don't think he put out the team to lose. Obviously,
no, I don't either. No.
But I just still think that it was an opportunity there.
I mean, it's not the focus, unfortunately. And I mean, I go back to when we won the FA Cup back in '91, and I was a kid, and you'd wake up in the morning and you'd have the 2 children's programmes on BBC One and ITV, all about the FA Cup all day, wasn't it? Like, there was only the 5 channels. I mean, this shows my age now, isn't it? But there was only the 4 or 5 channels there. That's all you could watch, and all day the focus was the FA Cup. And I feel like now, don't get me wrong, right? I'd love to of us to have got through and won the FA Cup, but I feel like it's just not got that importance.
Oh, definitely.
From the prestige point of view, and clearly from the financial point of view. Yeah. If you get the same from winning the FA Cup, going for all them rounds that you do from one round in the Champions League, from a chairman's point of view, why are you going to focus? Why are you going to tell your manager, look, you need to focus on the league. You need to focus on getting us top 4 because that's where our revenue is going to come from, not from the FA Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah. But there's still so much money, even in just like the general TV money that we get from just being in the Premier League.
There is huge
There's a lot of money. So it's
around.
not like any club is really desperate for that extra cash. Obviously, we are in a situation now with the new stadium. But I just still think that, every club is reasonably comfortable. So I don't think it just comes down to a money situation. And it also comes down to, we want trophies in the trophy cabinet, You want to go to the Tottenham Museum and you want to see trophies. You just don't want to see a 3rd place. I know that's what the rival fans would say to take the mick out of us.
Yeah,
but it's true, It's obviously we want success. Obviously we want, continuity, and we want to be building, and we want that Champions League football. But, trophies would be incredible.
I agree with you, but I feel like as a club, say whenever we do move, say for example we did move at the beginning of next season, I was probably going to move in earlier than that, but if we was to move in that new stadium, I think that as a club we want to be playing Champions League football as opposed to putting an FA Cup trophy in that trophy cabinet. I think the Champions League football is more important.
I agree. If I was given the option moving forward, I agree. But I still think we could have done both. I think we're going to be,
We missed a chance. Okay. We missed a chance Thursday. Yeah. That's what we missed. Probably Sunday. We could say Sunday, but I think with the games coming up and the fixtures we've just come out of, I can see what he's done there just to ensure that we stay on track for the long-term goal. Yeah. And I on Thursday morning, I was the same as you. We can do both. We can lift one trophy and we can get ourselves in down the road. But it's gone. We've lost a great chance, again, because we've become so close. So I think fans need to sit back a little bit. They need to relax again. We need to we need to wipe our brows, wipe our mouths, get on with it. It's gone. It's done. And the best way to look at it is we now need to kind of look at next season. We're a season behind. We're a season behind where we want it to be. We want it to be in the new stadium. We want it to be pushing for a trophy. And I think if we was in there, that nice new stadium, playing in Europe already, we'd have seen personnel change. We'd have seen personnel additions and some people going. I think we'd have already seen that. But I think just due to the delay, the extra financial implications. I think we are where we are. I think we're a season behind. So next season, we need to say, right, we're getting there. And we've got to look at it this way. You don't keep an Eriksen, a Kane, an Ali, a Toby, a Hugh. You don't keep all of those on certain wage scales. You get to a point where other clubs come and they can pay for them. We can't keep paying for them in a stadium that only holds 36,000 people. And fans have to realise that at some point, at some point, something had to change. Something had to change. And there was always going to be an implication. Now, the only way we would have done that without people losing their minds is by lifting a trophy somewhere along the line. But the games have come thick and fast. We've stayed in all competitions till the end of January, which was probably to our detriment in the end. You know, had we gone out of Europe, we maybe Poch's gone all out for those 2 cups this week, you know, and chucked everything at it. You know, stick Kane out on 1 foot, do what you got to do, just get us through to one of them. But that's not the case. So the stadium had to grow, you know, because revenue has to grow, and for revenue to grow, we can pay to keep those players there that we're watching, that we've had the pleasure of watching for the first time. We're watching a decent team in 10 so years, and we can attract players who might want to come and be part of it now. So, yeah, do you know what? It's sour and it hurts. This week was a hard week. You've had to listen to all the rival fans, and you've had to listen to...
Actually not to, but I mean, to be honest,
I stayed away a little bit.
Our fans are the worst. After the Thursday, I deleted myself from 3 groups because I was like, I just can't. It's just
I just switch off.
So ridiculous. People just absolutely imploding, and that was before the Palace. So God knows what they were saying on the Sunday.
Do you know what? I take it as a compliment, though. That idiot, ex-Arsenal goalkeeper, doing an actual thing is happening again. Like, you know,
I know.
I take it as a compliment because they're so bothered by us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they are, and they're the only thing they've got now is to mock us.
Absolutely.
You know, like, I'll see fans on social media and they go, "Oh, we're a laughing stock." I'm like, look, how are we a laughing stock? We're 3rd in the league. We've got the highest amount of points in the Premier League we've ever had at this stage. We're still in the Champions League. We went to the Nou Camp, get a draw. We're not a laughing stock. Like, you know, how can you call us that? You'll take it as a compliment that these fans are so bothered.
But otherwise, they have to have a nibble back. You know, they just have to have a nibble back, and they just lose their minds. So you're right. If you know your stuff, you know your history, you know your stats. You know, look, we're in a bloody good place, you know, and it was just unfortunate we couldn't add silverware to it, but we're in a bloody good place, and people need to recognise that.
The Arsenal ex-players, I mean, Jesus.
Well, Kevin Campbell was
Kevin
Campbell was brilliant, wasn't he?
Just unbelievable,
absolutely ridiculous.
I thought
it's not like they're in the cup.
Yeah, exactly.
They went out as well. Mugs.
He's got Kevin Campbell piping up with his tweet, and was it Higuain's come and got what?
Yeah, but he wasn't even factually right, because he was saying like he's got more. We got the cup final,
2 cup finals. So he actually just tweeted shit.
Unbelievable.
Cheers, Kevin.
Nice
Thanks,
one,
mate.
Kev. Oh God. Welcome back, guys. So it's time to talk about previews for the week. We've got 2 games this week, and obviously we've been talking about the fact that we're resting players for these games, so they're actually quite crucial. The more difficult one, obviously, coming up first. Watford are playing well. They're a goal threat. They're tough up front. Deeney is a beast. Decore is, playing well. So it's not going to be easy. I don't know whether the fact that obviously Eriksen was rested on Sunday and Rose was rested and Winks was rested, that it means they're going to start, or they're going to still be rested and save for the Newcastle game. Do you think they're going to come on? What do you think the team's going to look like?
No, I think he's resting them for the. Like I spoke about earlier, he's focused on the league. I think so. He'll bring out the strongest squad I think he possibly can. I mean, like you say about it's not being an easy game. I mean, they beat us, didn't they, earlier in the season? Mm-hmm. That should have actually been the home game. So this should be the away game, shouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like it's going to be it's a different kettle of fish playing at our home ground, you know. But it's going to be a tough one. But I feel like if we're bringing these players back, then I can't see it. I can't see anything but a win.
We're normally pretty good at reacting from a defeat, and I suppose obviously the Sunday reaction from Thursday was quite difficult because of the changes that we mentioned. So I think, and also we know now it's so important. Obviously, these league games, like we've been talking about, this is now the opportunity where we have to cement. We've got 3 winnable, as we said, home games. We've got to be looking at least 7 points from those. Yeah. Obviously, we'd love 9, but that's just the way things are. It might not happen. So, so in terms of predictions, what are you thinking, Lee? How do you think the game's going to go?
I think it's going to be a bit of a battle. I think that's just Watford will always get us embroiled in a bit of a battle. But I'm hoping defensively we pull it together. And yeah, I'm thinking 2-1. I'm thinking.
Okay.
Thinking 2-1.
I'll go 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Clean sheet.
Well, Lloris is look, Lloris. I'm not. This is no disrespect to Gazaniga, but I feel like getting Lloris back. Like he's had a nice rest now. You know, we're getting. Hopefully, Toby will be back. So we'll have Toby and Jan. I mean, Jan come off, didn't he? He come off at half time the last.
Yeah, I think that was tactical.
So,
but yeah, he'll be
hopefully
rested.
it was tactical. Yeah. So,
true.
you know, we've some of the boys have had a bit of a rest. So I feel like we're going to hopefully be at it on midweek.
2-0. Okay. I think I'm going to join you. I think 1-0. I think 1-0. I still don't see many goals in our team, and I think it's going to be hard. Okay, I think it's going to be easier on Saturday. I think Newcastle are definitely not. They don't pose as much of a threat as Watford. I think it'll probably be a more open game, and I fancy us for that one. So I'm going to go 2-0 for that one.
Yeah.
2 clean sheets in a week. What? No, that ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna go for that.
I mean, when we played, I remember going to the Newcastle.
I actually predict 1-0 for Watford. I'm scared. I'm scaring myself. I've just got these visions of Deeney just scoring.
I don't know. It's going to be, like you say, it's going to be a tough game. But I know. Look, we're missing some of our big players up front. But I don't know. I still got a feeling that we'll still be too strong for him.
Do you think Sonny's going to play? Is Sonny going to be back?
Well, yeah, I mean, if Sonny's back, and like you were saying earlier, Lee, about the turning up in the second half. If we can turn up in the first half as well as the second half, then
it gives us twice a chance.
Yeah. But then
statistically,
of course. But then hopefully that because we are obviously missing some of these big players. I get that, but. When we have turned up in these second halves, it proves that
we can play without some of these boys at times. We just need to stop giving other teams gimmies.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop chasing the game.
My worry is that Watford are going to go for it now because they can see that we're a little bit down, and there's just something about that team I just don't like. I just really, it'll
definitely be a brawl, definitely be a battle, but we might just kind of look back at Sunday and go. Masterstroke by Poch and just go bang. There you go. There's Ericsson flying. There's Toby and Jan solid. There's Rose swinging crosses in.
You're right. Yep. Let's hope you're right.
Well, that's his thinking, wasn't it? We hope.
And if Sonny is back, then obviously we'll have Sonny playing up front, won't we? So we've got someone who can bang in goals. So
I get the feeling we might only see him for half a game.
Yeah. Probably the second half. So Newcastle, I'm going to go 2-0. What are you thinking?
Yeah, let's go for a 2-0 as well.
Yeah,
it's a clean sweep. I'm going 2-0. I fancy 2-0 for that.
Magic moments.
Well, it will be if it comes in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Lee, you were mentioning some stats. Obviously, what was the stat you mentioned earlier? Actually, in the last however many years about transfers. You obviously wanted to bring it to the table, and you just told me off air.
Well, this is. I know. I'm aware that we need to keep everyone kind of upbeat because we're all in therapy here, aren't we? So I'm worried that this stat will just kind of bring people right back down again. But so from January 2010 to now, in the January transfer window only, so it's the last 9 years, we've only signed 6 players. One of them was Dele Alli, we didn't get for 6 months. So technically it's only 5 players that we've signed. So if anyone's got their hopes up that we're going to be buying some player that's going to turn our season around, or say turn our season, I know we're doing well in the league, but put it and take it to the next level, I wouldn't get their hopes up too much.
Okay.
I mean, what we were talking about earlier with I think for us, the summer transfer window, that's going to be really where it will make or break what's going forward with us, I think. But yeah, I wouldn't. It's funny because I couldn't believe that. We've only actually sold 5 players as well, so we just don't do anything in January. It just doesn't happen. We've spent something like 35 million in that 9 years, and 25 of it was on Mora, 5 was on Dele Alli. So yeah, I mean, the only kind of other player of note I think that I remember signing.
Ryan Nelson, Luis Hart.
Saha, yeah, there you go. That's one of them.
Luis
But we
Saha.
let Pavlyuchenko go, so we made 9 million on him and we signed Saha for free, And I missed old Pavlyuchenko. I used to love him. Until the end, he always had a nice little smile on his face until, he was all going pear-shaped for him, wasn't it? But for the start, he loved it, didn't he? And I was always a little bit sad to see him go, but. Yeah, no, don't get your hopes up that anything's going to happen.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Well, I think Levy kind of locks his checkbook in the safe and forgets the code at this time of year.
Checkbook? Yeah. He ain't got a checkbook.
Well, he's forgot the code. So he's
It's been in there long,
he's just been in there for a while. So it's only outgoings.
Just says January on the front of it.
I'll take incomings. Can't find my checkbook. Can't buy no one.
So that was your stat revelation, and then Lee, you wanted to talk about the Spurs ladies that are doing really well at the moment.
Well, yeah. On seeing he's bringing us down, I'm just trying to pick. I'm just trying to pick.
I put in that one, didn't I?
I'm just trying to pick us up again. So it's not all doom and gloom around the lane. So So a little shout out to the Tottenham ladies. They're doing their thing, and they're flying at the top of the championship. They're 4 points clear at the top.
Great.
United, the Moneybags team in that league, and they're in third place, so 4 points off. They got 2 games in hand, but no, the ladies are representing very well, and a great result on Sunday as well. Beating Millwall 3-2 with a 94th minute winner, so
happy days.
A little bit of recognition to them as well. They're flying the flag, and with a little bit of luck, they'll be in the Ladies Premier League next season as well. So
nice one.
Keep doing your thing.
I'll tell you what as well, if anyone is local, they play in Cheshunt. It's normally on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, but it's only a £5 and I think it's like £2 for kids. So if anyone does want to go, it's a good little game, and like you say, we are doing well. I mean, Manchester United, they're the pro club in that league.
Yep.
So they're the ones that want to go up to, obviously we're in the second tier now, aren't we? So they're the ones that can automatically go up. But considering we are just like we're only semi-pro. These girls are all at college and university and stuff, and they're doing really well.
Yeah, they're flying.
Really well, yeah.
They're flying.
Yeah.
So if anyone's around on match day, get down and support them.
Yeah.
Nice one. Well, thank you very much, guys, once again for joining us. We are going to launch an Instagram live Q&A session in a minute, but for now, we will love you and leave you. So thank you very much to Lee. Thank you very much to Matt.
Cheers, mate.
Wasn't too bad, was it? Do we feel okay now?
It's a good session.
Yeah, good session. Get it out of you.
I'm ready for the weekend.
Everything's
now.
okay. Oh God. No. Hopefully, fingers crossed. The show next Monday is going to be much more chipper, much more positive. We're going to be talking about 6 points and an amazing £70 million signing. That's never going to happen. So once again, we're on all the social media channels, TTILM Show. We're on YouTube, The Thing I Love Most Show. We're on Facebook as well, and on Instagram and Twitter. So please do subscribe, share, view, watch, listen, all of the above. We really appreciate it. And yeah, fingers crossed when you join us next Monday, we'll have some more positive news for us. And so we're now going to move on to the Instagram Live. So see you next week, guys. Come on, you Spurs. How we doing, guys? So this is Noel from The Thing I Love Most Show. We have just finished recording a very sad show talking about the 2 defeats this week, but we're trying to be positive. So we want some positive questions, some positive chat. So if there's any questions that you guys want to ask us, then we have our panel of experts here. We have Matt and we have Lee that are here to talk to you about them. So if you have any questions that you want to come in, if not, then I can just show you Matt's Christmas jumper. Unfortunately,
it's my ski jumper. I can wear it until March.
There we go. And Lee's looking sharp as always. So if there's any questions that you want to ask us, who should Spurs sign? Flipping very good question there, Charlotte Robinson. Who should Spurs sign? Someone. I mean, it's a difficult one. I think obviously from the game yesterday, it was quite obvious that we needed some help in the attacking third because we weren't very creative. But then we had the striker up there and we had 2 strikers towards the end and they still weren't creating for them. So whether we need an extra creative midfielder to unlock the defence, to have a bit of pace, to get down the wings, to whip the ball in, or we need another striker. We probably need both, to be honest, but we are definitely obviously struggling with the injuries that they have at the moment. So I will swear, in terms of actually who we should sign, I think it's really, really difficult. So I think someone would be good, and fingers crossed, this Rabiot guy sounds like he's probably not going to come. So Malcolm from Barcelona is another one that's spoken about, but it doesn't seem to be that potential. So we'll see. Okay, so flip it over to Lee. Lee, who do you think we should sign, if anyone?
It's a difficult one. I'm in agreement with most. I think we're two players light, and I think we need one creative player, and I think we need another goal scorer. There was talk of possibly Rebic being banged around. I don't think that would be the worst signing, but there's nobody that really springs to mind at the moment, and it's a difficult time of year to sign. I think we're probably over the worst now. We've had 2 defeats and put us out of 2 cups, and we're a couple of weeks in. Sonny's about to return, so we'll get one goal scorer back, so we might just need to stumble across the line for the rest of the season. So yeah, 2 players, couldn't tell you names of the 2, but one creative and one goal scorer.
For me, I don't think in this transfer window we need to sign anyone. I don't think we're going to sign anyone either. But like Lee was saying, we've got players that are coming back, and when they are back, then we've got a quality first 11. So maybe if we was ever going to sign anyone this window, it would have been a short-term loan to maybe cover the 2 cup games. They've gone, they're dead now. So I think it's a case of, the players coming back, and then in the summer looking at getting some players in.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Charlotte. So we've got another question. Do you think we can win the Champions League? I mean, it's not that impossible. And that's from DJ Dejana 2001. So I'm going to flip that to Matt. Ho, 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 Matt. Straight away. Oh, don't look so scared. Come on.
No, I'm just saying no, I don't think we can.
Okay.
I'd like to. I'd love us to, but I don't think we're going to, realistically.
Okay. Lee?
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful dream. It's a no from me at this point, but I'll take quarterfinals. And yeah, if we can turn up for a couple of good games, I'll take quarterfinals, possibly semis, but no.
I think we can, obviously, but the problem is that we are currently in a bit of an injury crisis, and we are playing one of the best teams in Europe at the moment in Dortmund, who are absolutely flying in their league. They're quite a few points ahead of Bayern. They're in really, really good form. So I think if we could get through this round, then who knows? I really, really do. We can score against anyone on a day, and if we cut out the mistakes that we have been making in general, then I think we've got a chance. But I think this actually probably might be the hardest test out of all of them is this next couple of games against Dortmund, especially the home leg. The fact that we won't have any of our top 2, or we won't have Ali or Kane available. So we'll see. Okay, so Charlotte, another question from you. Should we bin of Janssen and Llorente and buy a new striker to back up Kane? I mean, yes, we should. I mean, Janssen's out the door. Poch has obviously said that he doesn't rate him at all, and he wants to get rid of him due to the fact that he's not training very well. So yeah, we do want to get rid of him. Llorente, at the moment, I suppose he's only really sticking around because he's desperately needed. So I think if we could, we would probably get rid of him. But as it is, I think he's going to be sticking around. So what are your thoughts on that one, guys?
Yeah, I mean, he would have probably gone, Llorente, if we hadn't had the injuries. If Kane wasn't injured, he'd probably be gone in this transfer window. For me, come the summer, let them both go, get someone in. That's why I'll keep saying it. This summer is so important for us, for transfers in and out. But yeah, them 2, I can't see him staying beyond the summer.
Okay. What position do you think we need to improve on the most, or have we got positions where young prospects are coming through? That's from Josh Duke.
That's behind. That's the midfield. That's one creative midfielder, somebody who can get down the wing a little bit, and a striker who can nick a goal in limited time and limited appearances. Charlotte's asked previously, and always get put on the spot. But if I know we missed out first time around, then maybe the time will come again. But Jadon Sancho would definitely be one that I would look at trying to bring back to England if the time come.
Okay, last question. Should Gaza be our number 1 keeper? He's certainly getting closer, I think. And I think if Lloris does make a couple of errors in the next month or so, then surely he's got to be knocking on that door because he's looked pretty strong. So you never know. Obviously, Lloris is the club captain, so that poses a little bit of problem. But I think, I think he's looked solid. You saw from that pass to Moura the other day against Chelsea, his kicking is incredible, and he's really can, help us moving forward in the attacking third. So fingers crossed. See the improvement. So what do you think, Matt?
Yeah, no, you mentioned it. I think his distribution's better than Lloris's. He probably isn't as good of a shot stopper as Lloris at the moment, but look how far he's come, in the last, since he's been with us. So he's definitely knocking on the door for me, definitely.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think I've said on previous shows that I don't see him as our number 2 anymore. I see him as our 1.5 because I think he's that close. And I think possibly this time next season he may be the number 1.
Okay, we just had another question in, which is quite an interesting one, so I will actually go with that. So there's 2 actually regarding Trippier. You buying the argument that the World Cup got to Trippier's head? Yes. Been useless since, and basically, shall we keep Trippier? So that is a very, very interesting one. I think, I don't even know the answer. I think it's something that's got to him. Something's got to him, and he has not been very good, and he seems to have been lacking in confidence. He's certainly not the player that he was, and he is making mistakes, and that's before he completely shanked the penalty on Sunday. So it's a really frustrating situation to be in. I would have much preferred to see Kyle Walker-Peters right wing back yesterday and Danny Rose left wing back. That should have been what he'd gone for, because Trippier was not in form and Rose is in form. So unless Rose was really, really tired, then that should have been what he went for. I really believe that. So I was disappointed to see him playing out of position, which we alluded to earlier on actually off camera, maybe why he was a bit nervous about the ball coming over, which is maybe why he handballed it, because he didn't really know his position, because he was playing on the left as opposed to the right. So frustrating situation. What do you guys think about Chips?
Yeah, for me, and I've mentioned this before, he scored that wonderful goal in the World Cup, free kick in the World Cup, did a similar thing against Fulham at Wembley earlier in the season, and I just felt like his ego just got overinflated. And we talk about it like he's a solid player. He doesn't normally let you down, but I feel like he thinks he's the player that he's not, and it's affecting his game really badly, and he's making really silly mistakes constantly.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a little bit of a contradiction. I think he's lacking confidence, but he's overconfident, and I think that's why he's trying these silly turns, these Cruyff turns, these passes when he's not looking, and that's come from overconfidence. But he's not in form, and yeah, he probably wouldn't make the match day 16 for me at the moment. And Walker-Peters is unlucky not to be the first or second choice right back. You asked me at the start of the season, I'd have probably told you that I would have wanted to cash in on Aurier. And now looking at it, I'd probably keep Aurier and go with Walker-Peters as his backup. So I would probably cash in on Trippier at the moment.
Good. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much, guys, for all of your questions. We've just recorded our latest episode, which will be available tomorrow morning. So we do appreciate you guys watching and listening. It's available on YouTube and on podcast forms. If you do want to get in touch with us away from the show, then you're able to just send us a message on Instagram if you have any questions that you want us to cover. And if you wanted to even send in a video of yourself asking a question, that would be absolutely fine. We'll post it for you, and we'll try to answer as much as possible and as best we can. But we really, really appreciate your support. Thank you very much for continuing to listen and to watch. And if you did want to get involved in the show, like I said, we're more than welcome to have you. So keep on supporting. We've got a big week coming up, and we need 6 points. So we'll hopefully hear from you this time next week. And come on, you Spurs. Thanks, guys.